Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. And I think given the recent crash in Near Protocol, unfortunately we have to do once more a complete Elliott Waves analysis, but here is the situation. I think the conclusion is absolutely the same, and I don't really see a whole lot of arguments to be like absolutely 100% bearish in Near Protocol, because I honestly do not believe that in the recent phase on the downside, in the recent liquidation event in the whole crypto market, we have broken any serious levels. So are you ready? Let's dive in and see what is going on. And if you remember the last time that we talked about Near Protocol, we were right around this area, and the idea was that as long as we are not taking this very important low, about let's say $2.25, we can say we are having a 1-2 followed by another 1 and a 2, maybe even followed by another 1 and a 2, and our primary scenario is very much optimistic, suggesting hopefully soon we are going to get a massive breakout. And as you can see, unfortunately we didn't get that, and I would like to apologize for my analysis and own up to my mistakes. I got this one absolutely 100% wrong. Now, having said that, I still do not believe that in the mid to long term the overall scenario has changed, and in my view we still do have back in this bull run in 2021 a 1 2 3 4 5 wave up followed by an ABC down. This is off of the lowest low in near in this area, an ABC on the upside and not a 5 wave. So I do still believe that doors are open to the possibility of having in this region a WXY in form of a double zigzag, and the reason for why I would like to consider still another move on the upside and not say that this is actually the beginning of another massive move down in order to set new lows actually comes down to this initial phase right in here from the highs to about this important low, about $3.1. Why? Because if you want to be bearish and you want to argue in Near Protocol the only way is down, then okay, off of that higher side you need to be able to find a 1 2 3 4 5 wave. This specific structure is called an impulse. Rules for it are: we should not have overlapping of the waves between wave 2 and 4, and in any kind of 5 wave or wave 3 should not be the smallest wave. And based on that, let's go on the live chart. Excuse me. Let's see what is going on. Let's zoom in more. So here's a question for you: how exactly are you able to find from this high to about this low specifically? In other words, in this initial move down a 5 wave. Trust me, I have checked this structure way too many times, and I really doubt about this thing being a 5 wave. So I'm gonna say, according to my primary count, odds are this whole move is a correction structure down. And since this is an ABC up, well, okay, again, maybe we are having overall a WXY in form of a double zigzag, and whether in this phase we are going to take the all-time high in near about $21, fair enough, that can be up for the race. For now, here is what I have to say: I still do believe that in near, by the end of this cycle, we are most likely going to get a good move up in order to take at least this important high around $10 area. And when we take it, we are going to make new videos and see what are we going to go from there. It's not actually that important, at least right now. Now, let's go on maybe H4 time frame and see what happened with the recent phase down. Now, I think given the recent crash, we really cannot argue that this is like a series of 1-2s, since in it we took all the loss. Or did we actually take the loss? Well, you see, if you want to go according to this chart, it seems like that, yup, we absolutely take them. But even according to this chart, as you can see, in near, we still haven't gotten a break of this very important support area. Now, why do we care about this support so much? Because under here, I really do not believe that we are having a whole lot of strong supports. So here is what I'm trying to tell you. If in near, God forbid, we get a move down and we break this support, which the lower band of it is about $1.7, $1.8, at that point, count on a continuation of the move down in order to take the lowest low as well, all the way down here about 95 cents. But you know, maybe we are at that point going to go even a bit lower than that. As long as we are not breaking this level though, I think we should be optimistic. And what is going on in here, I think, can be a smaller version of what is currently happening in Litecoin. Let's go on LTC's chart. There we go. because as you can see in Litecoin for also quite a while actually we are in this ranging pattern right in here, and the last time that we got around the higher band of it, unfortunately we got once more a rejection and got a move on the downside. And in your protocol I think we are also stuck in a beautiful ranging pattern around the lows, and the reason for why I care about this thing so much is because around the higher band of our ranging pattern is a very important resistance, and also around the lower band of it we are having this unbelievably strong support, and breaking out or maybe breaking down definitely means a very different thing. So in here, the moment that we get a move up and in that phase we get a breakout of our ranging pattern, I think we should very much safely assume that this move up is going to continue at quite a bit of a rapid pace, and we are easily going to take the highs about, let's say, $9-10 area. Get a breakdown on the other hand, okay, the story at that point is going to be a little bit different. And I believe one very important positive thing that is going on for near, if, again, pay attention, if you want to go according to this chart from Binance, or maybe you want to go according to the chart from Kraken or maybe TradingView, is that in this phase down, we actually wicked to all the way down here. Why do we care about this? Because you see, whenever you are having a ranging pattern, let's say this is going to overall ultimately break on the upside. Well, here is the situation. The price doesn't really cooperate with you around the lows and gets like a quick bounce. Usually, a lot of short-term traders around the lows are opening some long positions, and most of them do end up putting their stops under the lows. So in most cases, what we do is this. We actually get a quick wick down in order to gather all the great liquidity under the lows, and then we get a move on the upside in order to have a massive breakout. And who knows, if we are lucky, maybe in here, this was actually the wick that we all expected. And since now we have gathered all the liquidity in these exchanges, okay, makes sense to argue, yep, you know what, maybe it's time for a good move on the upside. Now, why did I say at the beginning of the video, maybe we haven't actually gotten this strong move down? That's because in some other charts, and by that I'm specifically talking about what is going on in Coinbase, as you can see, we do not have that important shadow which in it we literally took all the lows. And if you want to go according to this chart, I think the bullish structures are still sort of kind of intact. And if you are wondering like me, why in near protocol we have kind of fallen behind in terms of recovery relative to a whole lot of other altcoins, I think that's because if you want to go according to this chart from Coinbase, this is actually an impulsive structure down and not a 5-wave. Let's go on maybe 30-minute chart so we can see the candles a bit better. You see, in my view, there's actually a very good chance we are having in this region like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave down as opposed to a correction. And also this initial bounce is, at least according to this chart from Coinbase, probably in form of an ABC flat. Now, why do we care about this part of the price action? Because according to Coinbase's chart, I think this actually confirms that in here, maybe overall we are having something called an ABC expanded flat, which looks like this. This is our initial move down into a correction for wave B, which in it we are going to take this initial high, and then we are going to have a quick strong move down into our C leg, and in it we are going to take the low of our wave A. And in terms of the sub waves, I think you know what I'm about to say. ABC into a ABC or maybe a WXY from my POV, as honestly it doesn't really make that much of a difference into wave B. Excuse me, I just took the wrong object. And then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down into C. Now, let's go on the live chart and count some waves. Maybe it's best to go on H1 time frame. There we go. So here is what's going on in my mind. In my view, in here, now we can sort of kind of argue that this was a wave 1, correction for 2, a strong move down into wave 3, correction for 4, and this may have been our final move down into wave 5. And as you can see, this got truncated, and we are allowed to have a truncated wave 5 when in our wave 3, we are having some massive liquidation events, in other words, some strong moves on the downside. And since this was literally the biggest liquidation event in the history of the crypto market, well, okay, I think this is the best place to consider having a truncated 5-wave. And also, earlier in the video, I said this is probably 5-wave up. Excuse me, my mouse is a bit glitchy. This is another 5-wave. This is another 5-wave. And in here, we are having maybe an ABC on the downside. So here is what's going on in my mind. I think if you want to go according to Coinbase's chart, which and we did not take the lowest slowdown here about $1.8, you can say this is ABC up. This is, like we said it earlier, ABC down. So on a higher degree, maybe a correction in here started from this point, and the end of it is going to be hopefully right in here, and it's going to be in form of an ABC expanded flat. And even on a higher degree, I think, at least according to this chart, we still do have a great bullish setup. You can say this is 1, this is 2, and what's next? You know it. Very strong move up into wave 3, 4, 5, which in this phase only into our wave 3, I expect near to finally get a breakout of this beautiful ranging pattern, and a breakout most likely will actually translate to some strong upward price action, and our move up, I think at that point, is going to accelerate quite a bit. So as you can see, it really depends on which chart do you want to go with in here. If you want to go according to this chart in Coinbase, well, okay, the bullish setup is still fully intact, albeit the shape of our move on the upside in here has changed a little bit, and now we are not allowed to consider a series of 1-2s. You should now just consider having a simple 1-2 structure. On the other hand though, if you want to go according to Binance's chart, which in this case, you need to actually start counting waves from this important low and not the lowest low, and you need to consider once more building a bullish setup, meaning maybe a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave up followed by a correction. Now, bottom line in Near Protocol, I think as long as we are not getting a break of this very important support area, we are still allowed to be fully optimistic. On the other hand though, if we get a breakout, okay, the story is going to be way different, but as long as we are staying above here, I think there is still some room to be optimistic. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in Near Protocol's price chart. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time with your family and loved ones. Goodbye.